Gordon Javna is the editor, writer, creator of Uncle John's endlessly engrossing bathroom reader by the Bathroom Readers Institute, or as we call it here, BRI. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so glad to have you on. This is my kind of book. I love the fact you have at the top all new 22nd edition. How do you determine what goes into the book? How do you determine what is compelling?
Well, Uncle John's Bathroom Reader is 500 pages, so we have room for a lot of different kinds of stories, but we like them to be short and so the story has to be something that we can tell in a maximum of 5 or 6 pages. But how do we decide? Well, I don't know. It's just things that interest us. There are so many interesting things in the world. Everything from science and politics to history and sports, and so we try to put a little bit of everything in. How we have what I call the factor, which is if I read a story and it makes me go, that's interesting, then I know that it's something that our readers will like.
One of my favorite parts of this book is about I Lost on Jeopardy. I've been on 6 quiz shows, and I auditioned for Jeopardy twice, and everything you wrote is true about how grueling the test is. Multiple shows are taped in one day, and the days of the parting gifts are gone. Now, I wanted to ask you about that. I don't know if you know this. I don't. It's not your job to know it. But why are the parting gifts gone?
I don't know why, but I would imagine it just got to be too expensive because they have so many people going through the shows, and maybe they just don't have to anymore. But yeah, Fabulous Parting Gifts. That was advertisers did that back in the 50s and 60s, and they stopped it. And for listeners who don't know what we're talking about, one of our writers at the Bathroom Readers Institute auditioned for and made it onto Jeopardy, and so we forced him to write about it. He lost, so he wasn't so anxious to
painful. You forced him into painful memories.
Well, yeah, but because we said you don't have to talk about being lost, but everybody wants to know what happens backstage and what it's like, what is Alex Trebek like, and all that kind of stuff, and what do you get? What are the fabulous party gifts? He didn't want to talk about money at all, but he did tell us what went on, and we put it into an article. It's pretty fascinating. Let me ask you, what other quiz shows were you on?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Money Maze, America's Funniest People, $25,000 Pyramid, and on Pyramid I did get parting gifts.
Yeah, did you? What did they give you?
Rice-A-Roni. Dick Clark was really nice.
Yeah.
He was really, really nice. It was really something.
And Rice-A-Roni, you'd think you'd get something better than a box of Rice-A-Roni, or was it a cake?
Well, I got Rice-A-Roni. I got some luggage. I don't mean, Samsonite top of the line, but I got some luggage. I got, I'll tell you the funniest thing I got. This was 1978. I got Sansabelt slacks. And yes, and let me say this about Sansabelt, okay? There's so much polyester in Sansabelt slacks that if you lit a cigarette across the street, I would catch on fire.
My dad is 91 years old, and he wears them.
That's my point. I mean, you put on Sansabelt slacks, it looks like you're auditioning for Cocoon.
That's funny.
Yeah, but those are the ones I was on. One of the things, now, these books are well known.
Yes.
And do you ever get people sending you info?
Oh, sure. We've had, over the years, we've had some wonderful articles that were inspired by ideas that were sent in by our readers. There have been many over the years that people have sent in, and we love to read them, because what we also get from readers is testimonials about how they finally have something in common with their children or their grandchildren because they all like to read Uncle John's Bathroom Reader, or teachers that tell us that the kids who are a little maybe ADD have trouble with their attention span. They give them Uncle John's Bathroom Reader, and it quiets them right down. Not like it's a drug or anything, but they're short stories and short articles, and they're nonfiction, and they're quick reads. Obviously, if it's written for the bathroom, it has to be fairly quick, and they're on a variety of topics, and it's really interesting stuff. Who knew? We have a story about how Hitler, it's always said that Hitler was a vegetarian. That's one of those trivia facts that you see around. We actually published that many years ago. But the reason he was a vegetarian wasn't because he didn't like meat, but because he had a flatulence problem, and his doctors prescribed all kinds of different diets, including some pills, which they now think there's evidence that those treatments actually killed him because they used poison. It didn't kill him soon enough, but in the end, that really was the end of him, and possibly caused him to make wrong decisions in the remaining months of the war.
What is there one category? And we're talking to. I'm sorry, I can't find your name.
My name's
Please
Gordon
forgive
Javna.
me.
Uncle John.
I'm very sorry, Gordon Javna. Yes, author, writer, creator, editor of Uncle John's Endlessly Engrossing Bathroom Reader. Is there? When I think of this book, I think of The Onion. And I'll tell you why. Because The Onion is a select group of people who got together and write this very, very funny humor newspaper every week. And do you have that same kind of camaraderie and sense of fraternity within the group of people who write for you?
Oh, sure. The Onion is kind of interesting. We are the same age as The Onion. We all started in the late 80s. Of course, they write fiction, and we write nonfiction, so that's a big difference. But yes, there is the same kind of camaraderie. I mean, we've had many people on our writing staff over the years, but we're still, pretty close. Some of the people who wrote for this book, Endlessly Engrossing, are the same ones who wrote for us back in the early '90s and late '80s. So yeah, we have a good time too. We laugh a lot. We come up with great, fun stories and dig up interesting information. And we all consider ourselves sort of pop historians. So,
when you're getting ready to write a new edition, does the word go out, we're getting together, or is it something that you just never-endingly compile?
No, we do it all the time. We're sort of collectors, like instead of I don't know what people collect, dolls or board games or records, which we collect all of those too, but we also collect information and trivia. And I always think that if I didn't have this job, I probably would be collecting the same kind of information anyway, because I just find it fascinating. I find it fascinating to know what the origin of the digital camera is. For instance, you see them everywhere. So we did some research and found that the first one was the first digital image was created in 1957, and the first cell phone camera, which changed everything, was in the I can't remember when it was right now. but what happened was a scientist wanted to take pictures of his newborn baby to send to his friends, and so he quickly figured out a way to hook up his camera to his cell phone and send out the images, and that changed everything. And now we figured there are probably about 190,000 photos taken around the world every second.
Wow.
That. Most of them will never be seen, but nevertheless, they are out there, and they are taking them. In 1997, that the cell phone camera was invented.
Is there a topic you won't do? Is there a subject you won't do?
We stay away from anything that's sort of X-rated or blue, because we like our books to be. We like our readers to be able to pick up the book and hand it to their little kids to read, or to buy it for grandpa and know nobody will be offended. So we generally stay away from sex. Not completely, because there's too many funny things that you can, that are sort of dumb crook kind of stories that involve motorized zippers and things like that, and bathroom accidents. But mostly that, and we don't get too political. We don't take a position on politics. But we
listen, Gordon, I want to thank you so much for this interview. Uncle John's Endlessly Engrossing Bathroom Reader, we're going to be giving away copies of it. It's the all-new 22nd edition. It is a terrific book, and, there's just... These tongue twisters, by the way, should be illegal. If I said one of these on the air, I'd probably have the FCC knocking on the door. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed it.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.